Hello everyone. It's 4:38 a.m. right now, and I'm in a very nice nature-like environment. And I would like to begin with communicating to you the title of this episode, which is a very important one. It is Planting Seeds of Infinite Design. Now what that means is that we must all begin at first, before getting into these concepts, be aware that we create a sense of individuality as a response to how the human being, as it's developing, doesn't know what's going on. Because you don't know, you want to know. This sense of knowing has localized human identity into language and words, and how words are implying more and more worlds, I guess, and more solid worlds. So what that means, in a sense, is that we are all at first creating a sense of an elusive reality as a response to our not knowing, but at the same time there's a reason to have an individual consciousness, but at the same time there isn't. Do you see? Because there's no reason for reason. So to continue, as we become aware of consciousness and, in a sense, how it applies to humanity, we can very simply just look at the words human being and recognize that to every person we see, there is a human aspect in regards to the idea, personality, how much they can, hold their shit together. And at the same time, there's also the being aspect, which it is an untouchable aspect. So when I'm speaking to you, there are some things that you have experienced, that you have, that is real to you, that is the origin of your intelligence, that is, in a sense, the intelligence of the light of the candle we are in this life, because it seems that we are a temporal being. We are an experience of a temporal being as well. If you begin to see yourself as just a body, or as just someone, just a certain range of definition of who you are, you will see that you will find a need to survive. Because an individual consciousness is based on its separation. Survival is based on something having to survive, rather than everything already surviving as existential natural expression. So we must realize that we have a lot of human beings, and just every human being pretty much, our history has been based on how man has been interpreting what he is based on what he can see. But now it's reaching a point where it's not enough just what we can see, and we need to go to the direct experience that is the origin of vision. And this can be seen also to be the origin of awareness. And what does awareness mean? It's not something you got to look up in a dictionary. It's just what you're aware of. Wherever you are right now hearing my talk, these sounds entering your ear, your sense of breathing, your sense of world is your awareness to what is here, right? We want to work with this rather than an idea, because ideas are left to abstraction, and every person visualizes differently. So we need to not really give ideas, but rather to allow ideas to become sources of inspiration that act as great mirrors. So what that means is, when I really read some very beautiful sacred hymns and existential poetry written back in the day, for example, the works of Rumi, Hafiz, Attar, and many other gurus and mystics, you would see a part of you will read their poetry and understand it as a You'll see it in their eyes. But at the same time, you'll know that the reason you're reading it is for your eyes. Your purpose is for others and your world. Your sense of, I gotta go do something here, right? That sense of purpose. But your being has always been in that state of awareness and realm of being where it could be something and it also didn't have to be anything. Do you see? How we acknowledge reality at first, how I was introduced, was in regards to I'm this physical body moving around and everything is it's just this, and sometimes Casper's best friend comes out, or there's an out-of-body experience or something like that, or an idea of a soul, That's kind of my impression, right? But then as my experiences kind of went into their natural flow in regards to how I just stopped kind of looking and chasing the butterfly and I just sat down, I began feeling new flows of inspiration that guided me to the realization that the greatest journey hasn't begun because I hadn't had the willingness to just see what I had been through. Do you know? Many of our ambitions are coming from for senses of self, but we are beyond an acknowledgement of one sense of self. Because if you have memory and you have lived, let's say you're aware of your, let's say, 10th birthday and your birthday now, or your birthday last year, as you're aware of both of those dates right now simultaneously, you are obviously an existential intelligence that has developed to a point that it can acknowledge reality simultaneously. And if you are biased, if you're not compassionate, tolerant, and mindful to how thoughts are worlds of their own, it's as if you are not letting yourself to see outside of the box. And the problem with the box is that when they tell you this whole cosmos is empty, you stop seeing intelligence in there. But you actually need to look within yourself and see that, no, my understanding of life is coming from my experience of life, which is happening right now here. Wow. Now, from this awareness, I can realize that when it is suggested planting seeds of infinite design, that means to give a contribution in a state of consciousness beyond the limitation of having to be someone or having to do something. We want the work in this life, literally your life's work, being such an integrative movement within your experience that it's not as if like you do not segment your memory. It's as if every moment is carrying every moment you've been through and can potentially be through. And this takes man to a very important point, because Mr.Within kind of finds that we need to develop some things here. And these are, of course, ideas that I would like to share with humanity. So pretty much we see that there are people, and this is in regards to, of course, guys, the planting seeds of infinite design. And so this is a very big topic, but I'm going to share with you this aspect. I was thinking and looking at how there are different people experiencing. What that means is there's that billionaire sitting in its jacuzzi, and there's also that child in a country that is in poverty, and the child sitting by the street, And I was wondering what is happening here, and I noticed it's as if different senses of energy are working this way, as if one part of the garden is that experience of the child sitting by the curb, and one part of the garden, with the flowers in that part, are the experience of the billionaire. But what is the point of all this? What is the point of all these variations and certain very small regulations in regards to how things happen? Why is our consciousness projected into a reality where cause and effect has given us an understanding of space and time? What that means is, it seems to me a bit too soon the human species thought it figured everything out. We need to explore consciousness. And so if I thought about what kind of system would be very interesting to develop, and it would be a system that will allow any human being to go through different human experiences. And of course, this is a very abstract idea, and it's just a concept for now, and I don't know how it can be implemented now. Perhaps maybe someone in the future could realize how it could be implemented. But the idea pretty much is we create a system where human beings are more interested in the quality of how human life is present in this reality. And trust me, if our future enhances to even to a point where we're engaging with machinery more intimately, we will run to human communication. Literally, I think any person who... You see, mankind is an experience of form. But that which is beyond man, that intelligence, is an intelligence beyond form. So how can a man in form look beyond form? By observing the form that is here, by forgetting all your assumptions and thoughts of that there is a world, and to just exploring a novel moment of existence, just going and being in your solitude and seeing what all this means. Because in doing so, then we can develop a system where one student suddenly can go into many different life situations, you know, or get the experience of it experientially by living 1 year in here, in this country, whatnot, you know. As human, traveling is like a healthy method for human psychology to develop beyond its limiting beliefs. What that means is when you travel and go to a different country where the culture is different, literally your belief systems change, you know? What that means is all reality is placed where you are. And when you realize this, your real eyes are unspeakably present. And the reason they are present, because presence is beyond personality. It is what personality is trying to say it is, but it can never be. And for humanity, presence is really actually that gateway to a sense of eternal truth. Because in presence, you let go of all those things that were limiting truth. Because the mystic knows absolute experience is here. Devotion is being done, for there is the knowing that there is the serenity here, possible. So pretty much to sum that up, it's interesting if we create an experience change and network, and you know, just like how perhaps maybe if you were to think about it like underground tunnels, there are many stations, there's many different pathways you can take into exploring. So if I was to, in a sense, suggest how can we globalize human experiences more? And you know, this doesn't have to be only a technological answer. Mankind could give an answer that is just an involvement in community, an involvement in exploration of the natural world, you know? What that means is pretty much in us engaging with nature, we will tap into a sense of being, a state of consciousness, a sense of compassion for our world, that self and other no longer need to be separated in regards to a solid idea based on certain values that a society puts in front of it based on what's on TV that night. The human species needs to recognize that it needs to acknowledge the state of consciousness, the world that it is presently seeing, and then based on that acknowledgement, observe it, and as it does, it will shift into a greater intelligence and state of awareness, where from there your expression will be the system created in a higher consciousness. How can I say this? What that means is all the words that are being lasted, for example, I find energetically, they're being kept because they were communicated at a certain state of consciousness. And this is kept, you know, this is realized. It's as if, just like how we remember, so does the earth, so does the planet. So pretty much, human state of consciousness, as the human being observes itself, gets situated in a transcendental sense of being that is its natural expression. So what that would mean is that in regards to a lifestyle and practical way of communicating this, you may suddenly feel a very ecstatic sense of being, and you may naturally express. It's as if you'll wonder, it's as if you're, just like how your heart was navigating, just naturally going by its own rhythm. Suddenly every action, how your thoughts and your whole moment is going based on this natural rhythm of life. And it's an attention to the moment because you're no longer focused. And it's very interesting because once a being realizes that it is not just in one locality, it is already in the other locality. Once you just get one sense within you that there's something more, you just know that you must go through. It's just like part of human experience. Because intuition is more than just what you needed to tap into. Intuition was your existential alignment based on your collective sense of intelligence. So what that means is you're an individual sense of intelligence here, but when you look at where this individuality is, it's among the collective intelligence. And you will begin to see that once you go into a very vibrant sense of natural expression, every work that you will do will be, it would be as if the work is done on a higher system of consciousness, and as the people develop, the people will get it, and the route will be there. And this is very important for all these new senses of movements in regards to establishing multidimensionality in all those areas that were intolerant. What that means is racism, sexism, any other form of judgmentalism, all this stuff is being kept based on a lack of awareness to the collectivity that is suggesting the human species does not need to be so stuck on being a certain type of individual when the whole world is here, all present, all alive. In other words, plant seeds of infinite design, in which the way life is approached in the present presents all possible projections of reality. We need to develop our sense of acknowledgement of mind and body into more profounder states of existential observance. What that means is go for a walk in nature. Go explore your solitude. You explore your noise throughout the day. You're going to noisy environments. Just go into an environment where it's solitude and stillness and confront it, and you'll be fascinated. Because the minute you go sit down, if you were to right now go to your local park and just go sit somewhere and just be still, just go sit by, let's say, a stream, and just breathe, and just be aware of the silence and stillness of existence just being, you begin to be aligned in a way where your body goes through a cleansing process, because there's less noise to create agitated projections of reality not working out. We are not paying attention that a lot of the times when we're angry at people, it's not them. There's way too many unknown factors. For all that rejection could ever do was just show you the rejected, and you will look at the rejected until you're ready to move out of it, step up out of it, step beyond it, transcend that reality. You'll be bored out of this suffering, and you'll be excited. And what that means is that for a lot of people who are going in suffering and very hard positions of being present, don't worry. It happens. It's just life. It just occurs, and then it passes, But realize that you also have an ability to handle your environment and to acknowledge this reality beyond a sense of a limiting belief, beyond a sense of you can't do some things. What is making you so convinced that you are what you are based on, how limited you think you are? What is validating your sense of you being stressed, depressed, or not having the perfect life? You have life. You are a life form. I'm pretty sure that's a big gift, I'm pretty sure like that bench is just jealous of you right now because you're a life form. Or maybe we must explore through our own wonder to truly reveal the treasures within our being. Mr. Within very playfully sees this reality and the contribution we can give as soil. What that means is how you plant seeds, how you live in this plane of existence. This is, of course, a suggestion for this moment that Mr. Within is giving. But how you live, it's as if you plant seeds by, instead of planting seeds, living in at a very vibrant and very aware state of being. Do you know? So your awareness to your state of being is the minute you see a problem, it's like naturally you will be gravitated to fix it, and after that intuitive completion has occurred, you will move on beyond the projected reality. Sometimes we can't just leave a reality. We have to do some stuff in there before we leave, What that means is if you're in a room, if you're in your kitchen and you have the stove on or something, you gotta wait until that finishes, or you gotta time it properly before you just, leave the house and go to a party or something, So similarly, in regards to psychology and a lot of our communication and the worlds and fantasies we have, and just how thought manifests into world, we simply see the fabric of reality and how in a sense it is all present through your greater vision. So it's very important to be aware that you need to handle what's in one room before you go into another room. So what that means is you need to handle your responsibility in regards to how you got engaged in something and involved in something and how that caused something, and there's going to be some effects. But at the same time, the reason you can handle yourself in a cause and effect reality as a self-aware being is because you have a sense of knowing within you that is instant. It is innate. There is an innate aspect of knowing within you that is your source of intelligence. What that means is, if you really look at someone's face, just look at another human being, you'll first acknowledge them as like, oh, look at what she's wearing, look at how pretty she is, gosh. It's like, gosh, really, look at how pretty she is. Yeah. But then at the same time, you'll begin to see, aside from that, there's this phenomena of life going on where that person is alive and there is a source of existential intelligence present in them. So when you realize this, your compassion is going and your respect is being given not to the person because of their rank or position, but because of your awareness to the value of life in regards to how there has always been a limitless sky. And perhaps some of the greatest skydivers have dived through the concept, the word sky, and just broken that terminology to dissolve into the vastness of just presence. All ideas are approaching you because you have the capacity of understanding them. However, through understanding, we are standing under something. What that means is we are working with a sense of fixed consideration, but we're also aware that there is also a fluidity. So what that means is it's not that we're just all ice suddenly, We sometimes turn into liquid. We have liquid states of being, and suddenly gas, where you as a being are just present here as just. How I would say that is, if you take a candle metaphor, and in a sense, kind of see that if the light of the candle was behind sun, if there was complete sunlight, and this candle was behind the sun, the candle light would be dissolved with with the greater light that is beyond it. So in regards to human intelligence, you are basking in collective senses of being, but if you choose to only see an empty world, you will be limited by how you are defining your limitation. So we don't want to just get clumsy, because psychology is just, we're just getting a bit distracted by psychology, I hope that this talk has served you. For in the garden of broken thoughts, chaos and order are no longer dancing alone, but in the same room. You are a life force. You are an existential intelligence. And as you trust your moment of experience, this moment of life, and all moments of life, you will begin to see that this trust will allow you to very quickly move beyond the rooms you're in and the realities you're in, and you'll, in a sense, develop into more of a sense of, how would I say it, harmonious orientation with your existential observance, I guess. The word existential observance is a very, very nice word, but I'm trying to think of, using that word and, when you're getting coffee or something at a coffee shop or somewhere, and you just say that word to, let's say, the cashier, and it's going to make that guy think for a while, But I think how you would say it is, you'd probably be like, can I get a cappuccino with some sugar and existential observance, And I think after the guy would think sugar, he'd suddenly think existential observance, and there would be such a profound, cup of tea made after that revelation. Gosh. Of course, guys, I'm being playful here. I hope this talk has served you. Realize that you must activate yourself, and that the reason we are playful is because we understand what's going on. We are multidimensional beings, and we need to create a new renaissance into understanding it. What that means is it's Columbus time. It's about explorer time. So we want to explore new realms, but no longer just physicality. We want to explore human consciousness, and that is going directly to human experience. And human experience is beyond ideology. So your awareness to this is actually your awareness to this actually is a very intense flow in the sense that you will no longer think of you as having knowledge, but you will see that your moment of awareness is flowing and is learning from everything that is coming into your awareness. What that means is, if you pay attention to it, and if you have that existential sensitivity, when someone out of nowhere comes suddenly, from their presence, just from how the change in the room and the presence and the energy of everywhere, and you don't call it energy, it's just a feeling, you'd begin to see you can really know things before you actually consciously know things. What that means is the sleepwalker knows how to walk. And we must always allow mankind to rise through the nobility of all actions he has done. You do not just need to forgive others or yourself. You do not just need to forgive yourself. You also need to forgive. You don't need to just forgive those around you and your enemies. And you don't just need to forgive yourself, but you need to forgive everything in which the human relevance has done. Anything that a human being has done, you need to immediately forgive it and realize that now, from a very clean slate, from a very limitless sky, we're going to see how we're going to advance our technologies, both internal technologies and external technologies. We need to develop this. We need to have artists turn into celestial lions roaring how their perceptions of how reality is real, of how the cosmos is in our pupil. And so we must be its pupil. Yeah, we definitely must be its pupil. And the blessings of that which you are, that which carries the temporal, too carries the eternal. That which is you is also that which is other. For all senses of other originate from a sense of self. However, this sense of self is transcendental, and you shall know it through the beauty of the world you see and the sounds you hear. For the pilot's calling. Please. Much blessings and namaste.